Welcome to the Small Business Breakthrough Series, where every week we're interviewing small business owners that support small business owners. But one thing about owning a small business is it's usually a person, and a person requires some help because we all do. We're not perfect. It's hard to find everything we need. And financial planning is an absolute critical part of your future. Most people want to retire or at least scale back in the latter years of life, maybe to go enjoy grandkids or travel the world. But this only happens if you find the right partner that can help you align your best interests and your vision for the future with your financial goals. And finding a partner that can do that without minimums and without worry and without biases is hard. But today, we have a guest that's doing just that. Rob Burnette, CEO and fiduciary financial advisor at Outlook Financial Center, is coming on the podcast. Let's talk to Rob. Rob, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me, Jason.
Okay, we talked. I gave a bunch away in the hook here, but the intro. But what is it that we'll dive into this question instead? Why is it important to you to provide the type of financial advisement that you did? Why did you get into your business?
One of the things I discovered early in my career, I was in the Navy. I worked in submarines. I was a submarine warfare officer, and the enlisted folks that worked for me were constantly coming to me with financial questions, financial issues. And I was 21, 22 years old. I didn't know anything then. So I went to a couple of meetings with financial providers and realized that these guys were just running over my troops, and I didn't like it. I couldn't get answers to the questions, so I figured, how do I get answers to these questions? So I found a way to go work in the industry part-time. So I did that in 1985. I got my initial insurance and securities licenses. So I was able now to answer questions and help people from a position of knowledge. I just enjoyed doing that. I helped, and these folks, were just, out of a trade school and things of that nature. So they didn't necessarily have a lot accumulated yet. They were young like I was at the time. And I always kept that. That was kind of my burning passion, is to help people that know they need help, don't know how to get it, and quite frankly, don't know what they don't know. So that's how I've built my passion over the years. That's why I don't require minimums. I have a lot of people in my industry tell me I'm crazy, that I should have a $500,000 or $1 million minimum, because we bring a lot of expertise, a lot of technology, and a lot of know-how to the table. But I look at it from the perspective of God put all these people in front of me. I'm there to serve them. I trust him to send the people that'll help me pay my bills. He's been faithful. The company continues to grow. And so I've just maintained that through the years. 20% of the people that walk in my door can't afford me. That's fine. We're going to serve them anyway, because I think there's a higher purpose, and we never know. We're going to make a big change in someone's life, and that person in later life is able to basically forward the benefit they got from the work that we did to others in the future. And that's just important to us.
That's such an amazing mission and vision that you are on, and the passion of coming through, helping in your younger years and growing and growing your business. Why do you think it's so important to hold true to your values, and that it's okay to go against the grain of what other people say is crazy?
Well, this vision that was given to me, I was just told, just follow it. It will take you to where you want to go. You do the right thing, the money will follow for you. And that's always been true. Part of the passion also is there's so many people that have questions, think, well, I can't go hire a financial advisor. I can't afford one. My answer is, you can't afford not to have one. You really can't afford not to. So the kind of questions we answer each day, people just look and say, I didn't know that. Well, that's my job. It's my job to know that, to then communicate that to you, and then put it into a context that you then can execute for your family, your career, your community in a positive manner. We were talking to some friends this morning about financial literacy classes in school. I think that's important. I used to teach junior achievement years ago to 8th graders. Now, there's a challenging class. I have a great deal of respect for my 8th grade teacher, just watching it, these are 13 or 14-year-olds, and it's the Wild West in there. But these kids all want to learn. They're not dumb. They may come across that they really don't care. But I will tell you a quick story. I had a situation where we created I brought in 18 donuts to the class. There are 30 kids in the class. Now you can probably see where the problem starts. Not everybody's going to get a donut. So what happened, I passed out envelopes that had fake money in it. And I opened the bid at $1,000 a donut. There was only one person in the class that had $1,000 in their envelope. So we now had a conversation about supply and demand, what drives it. Short story is there were about 6 kids that didn't even get part of a donut, because some kids got their money together and went and bought as a collective, bought a donut. 2 years later, I'm in the grocery store and I hear this voice behind me. I'm still mad at you. I turned around and said, excuse me? Says, yeah, I didn't get a donut. This was one of the kids in that 8th grade class. And I said, what did you learn from that? And she just went through and told me all about supply and demand, how it all worked and stuff like that. I said, awesome. Come with me. I'm buying you a dozen donuts right now because you got it. And she's going to have that for the rest of her life. So when you see have the ability to change people's lives like that. And remember, 2 years later in the grocery store, I'm still mad at you. It was awesome.
That's an amazing story, and hits you right in the heart on that one, on how you can impact the kid's life to be able to hold on to something like that and into the future. Let's be real. You didn't start your business to feel stuck, overwhelmed, or bored out of your mind. But yet, here you are, spinning, stalled, or just chasing every shiny object just to stay motivated. And I know exactly how you feel, because I used to do the same thing. But that's why I built the Momentum community, for founders like you. It's for people who are ready to get serious, simplify, and build a business that actually moves forward. It uses peer accountability, and it's what I used to be able to grow my business successfully and have a great exit. Does this sound like something you need? Click the link in the description below and let's have a conversation. Enjoy the rest of the show. A lot of listeners on this podcast are small business owners. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I see in small business owners is that's their retirement strategy. They're potentially putting into Social Security because it is a requirement, right? Mm-hmm. But so they may have a little bit of Social Security, and then they're planning to just sell their business. What would you tell a small business owner is the benefit of getting with the financial advisor and working out a plan to be more than just the exit of their business as their retirement plan?
There's so many things they can do while they're in business that's going to enhance their reputation, which brings more people in, gives them more traction. So one of the things we make it a point of, we want to have folks see our name and our company banner and stuff like that on a regular basis in places where it's going to be seen by lots of people. Does that generate business for you? I tell you it will. It may not that day, but if I think I need to go talk to somebody financial because the market's doing something, I don't get it. I've been doing my own investments. I don't understand why I'm not doing well. Let me go talk to somebody who does this every day. And who are they going to think of first? The names and the people they've seen out and about, out in the community, advertising, participating in community events. We have a local chamber event that I'm the presenting sponsor for. And this is one of their major fundraiser for the year. So, I'm gonna be up front and center with that. Was it expensive in the grand scheme of things? No, it wasn't, because the goodwill I generated out of that group, and that group already knows me. I'm just kind of cementing in their minds, these are the guys you want to go to. You can do that as a small business owner of any business. You want people to have top of mind, think, I need this. This is the company I'm going to go to. Why? Because I see them out in the community. I see them supporting kids or whatever it is that's important to you. That's one of the things that we do. We do a lot of things with kids. We live in farm country, so 4-H, FFA is very important to us. And it's just a passion that we have. We want to see kids get better. We want to make sure those kids have a better life than we had, but we're going to make them work for it.
Yeah, that's definitely a big important part is, what is it that you're passionate about as a business owner, as a way that you can pour into the community and get more engagement? Because people talk
Mhm.
around, and they will, and it's that brand awareness. And it's amazing how well that goes, especially in smaller farm communities. There's a real community focus and support system there, because we all understand, like, it's an element of buying from the local farmer, and what better way to support the community than purchasing local, whether that's financial
Mhm.
services, farming, internet service, or whatever it may be, from local providers. So the uh, you've been building this business now for quite a few years, and
Mhm.
there's been challenges along the way. What's one big challenge that you've had to work through that that has shaped your future, or maybe caused you to change directions or waver on that initial vision?
I haven't had anything cause me to waver on the initial vision. In fact, if nothing else, it's reinforced it. Everybody had to deal with COVID. One of the things we did prior to COVID, one of our main business building activities is we would do educational seminars. People would come, they would attend. We typically would have anywhere from 10 to 12 what we call buying units. Buying units, a couple, maybe a single person, they're a buying unit. But basically, at the end of that evening, our hope was that whatever they learned that night would give them then a incentive to want to come meet with us and learn more, and go through our process. Because the process is very simple. We sit down, we have a discovery meeting. Here's all the stuff that we want to know about you, about all your finances. We have a sheet and saying, if you've got any of these things, we want to see them. We have that meeting, go through, make sure we're a good fit, that we can look across the table and be honest with one another. Then we go off and, basically 7 to 10 business days later, we bring them back for the findings meeting. Here's what we found. And we talk high level strategy. So we would put together a portfolio that looks something like this. There may be insurance products that are needed. They would look something like this, but we still haven't named the company. We still haven't named the product. We want to make sure they're comfortable with the strategy. And if they're comfortable with the strategy, then we bring them back for implementation. And we say, okay, to implement this portion of the strategy, here's how we're going to do it. And here's who we're going to use to do that. So there's never any selling pressure. I joke that the right answer for them is not sitting in the bottom left hand drawer of my desk. I have no idea what that outcome is until we actually do the work. When I work with my team, I tell them point blank, here are the objectives, take it wherever it goes. So I have people with different areas of expertise that will feed back into it. And then Lori and I will get together and say, we're going to quarterback the system. Are there any conflicts between the various recommendations? And invariably there are, and that's fine. We resolve those conflicts to come up with a coherent plan that says, here's what we think might work for you. And then we talk through it. It's not a dissertation. During that meeting, I try for it not to be. I can get into the weeds because I am a recovering engineer. And so every once in a while, Lori will kick me under the table, which says, okay, you're going too deep, get out of there. And we have some fun with that too. And we joke with our clients about it. But the whole purpose of that conversation is to make sure they get all their questions answered, and whatever it is we're suggesting, and we can tweak it. It doesn't have to be, that's not carved in marble when we walk into that meeting. Come to an agreement that this is what we're comfortable with doing. We can execute this because it makes sense to us. It's not going to keep us awake at night. That's one of my criteria. I don't want to keep you awake at night worrying about this. And then we can move forward. And then they make that decision. Say, okay, if you want to move forward, here are the steps we need to take. We'll start the implementation. And this is going to take several meetings, because if we're going to talk investments, that's one meeting all by itself.
Yeah.
If we're going to talk insurance products, that's one meeting, maybe two, maybe three, depending on what we want to do with it. We're not going to hurry that process, because at the end of it, we're going to have a plan that we all have agreed we can go execute this. Then we'll set up the monitoring phase for it.
What is the um and we're holding true to not giving financial advice, but
Mm-hmm.
we've been through, in the last 2 months, quite a bit of turmoil, of ups and downs. And
Mm-hmm.
I know you get the call, what do I do? Like, what should I do? So what's the overarching theme that you tell your clients and or potential clients when there's volatility in the market and there's unknowns out there and they're kind of in that fight or flight panic mode?
Hmm. Yeah, it's funny. Our joke during our meetings, and we talk about this before they ever become clients, how markets respond, how people typically respond. And our joke is, if you need to be talked off the ledge, call Lori. She's much better at that than I am. And so we smile about that. And literally, we had a client, this was probably 3 weeks ago, called in, and his first words out of his mouth, Lori happened to answer the phone and said, "Okay, Lori, talk me off the ledge." So we have fun with it. But one of the things we tell clients right up front is that the market's going to be the market. It's going to do what it's going to do. I can't control it. You can't control it. Warren Buffett says he can't time it. I agree with Warren Buffett. There's a good reference point there. But what I tell them is our goal is to give you something you're comfortable with, something when the market does take a big downturn that you don't fully participate in it. That's part of how the portfolio strategies are. If the market's going up, we want to capture as much of that upside as we can get, but we want to minimize the downside. And so our portfolios are structured to do that. Well, now, I can say that because I haven't told you a single thing about how I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
That's strategically, and once again, we stay at the strategic level until we're ready to implement, and that's how we talk about that. I had a client in this morning, and he's already a client, and we were putting his portfolio together, and I said, okay, here's the start point based on your risk tolerance, when you're going to need the money, the investment horizon, things of that nature. Here's the base portfolio. Here are the things we can do to tweak it, to add to it based on your risk tolerance. So we talked through a whole bunch of things. We didn't do all of them. Don't expect them to. But he said, I like that. I like that. Let's put that in the portfolio. And we talked about, well, how much of that were we going to put in? So that's all part of that conversation. So that's what I say is we have no idea what the outcome looks like literally until we're ready to implement. And that's by design.
Nice. Very nice. It sounds like you have such a passion and understanding for making sure you're helping people where they are and understanding what their needs are. And it's very tailored to every client individually and not some blanket system that's we're just
Mm-hmm.
going to try this. Now, yeah, I'm sure you have templates and various things like that. That's what a smart business owner would have. But the aspects are you're really truly there to serve your clients. And so listeners out there, if you're listening to this, definitely stay tuned through the lightning round here and catch Rob's contact information at the end of it here. But we're going to jump into the lightning round now, Rob, after such a great conversation. Are you ready to have some quick hitting questions?
Let's have some fun.
Okay. Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
If you could grab only one weapon or item during a zombie apocalypse, what would it be?
My AR-15.
Very good. Very good. Favorite quote or phrase that you think about often?
This too shall pass.
This too shall pass. How about a book that has influenced your life the most?
Biggest influence would be the Bible.
Very good one. And what's the biggest obstacle you have had to overcome and one lesson you've learned from it?
You can't be worried about people who reject what you say. If you're passionate about it and you know you can help people, not everybody's going to get the memo. Not everybody agrees with you, and that's okay. And I tell clients that, and if we're not for you, that's fine. Hopefully, the worst case is I made a friend today.
Yeah.
If we see each other on the street and wave, say hi, grab coffee together, that's fine. Not everybody's going to become a client. I had one become a client, decided that we weren't a good fit. I agreed with them. We're still friends. It's not a big deal. And so that was the biggest thing I had to overcome was that rejection. Hey, it comes with a turf. Don't worry about it. As long as you're doing the right things, you're doing them in an honorable way, you're fine. That person's going to find someone else that's a better fit for them, and God love them for that.
Absolutely. Rob, what's the best way for somebody to reach out if they want to learn more about Outlook Financial Center or you yourself?
We have a website at outlookfc.com. On that website, you'll see a picture of our staff, all the things that we do. We're very active in being an expert commentary, if you will, in various publications. I taped a TV event earlier today, podcasts like yours. And so that's what really wanted to show people. This is what we do. Here's what we think, how we think about certain things, and give them a good feel. And then from there, they have the ability to schedule right on our website any appointments that they're looking for.
Excellent. And so for listeners out there, reach out to Rob if you have any questions, any concerns. It was a great conversation today of how you can build a great business and what it means to find a good financial partner. In his lessons learned, it reminded me of a recent YouTube video from Tom Bilyeu, which I'm going to link in the show notes or the description here, where he talks about focal points and everything. Everybody sees something differently, right? You cannot please everybody. You cannot you're not always going to have them as a customer. And that's okay because we are human, we are uniquely made, and everybody has your own unique vision of the world. And that should be something that is rewarded for every individual. So, for listeners out there, if you found value in this podcast and you want to listen to more of the Small Business Breakthrough, check out the playlist located right here if you're watching on YouTube. If you're listening, all that information is in the show notes. Take a look at the description. We'd love to hear a review. Subscribe on YouTube if you're watching. And until next time.